Oh, care to go on a trip this morning? We're going to take you traveling to Scotland through the beauty of a new book, plunking readers right into the mind and life of a university student who's trying to unravel a mystery. It's called The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus. And spoiler alert, it really isn't about an octopus at all. Joining us to chat about her debut is author Emma Knight. Welcome, and hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
And the cover art is beautiful on this book.
Isn't it stunning?
Yeah,
makes you painting.
Makes you want to dive in, and so we're gonna do that just now. We're gonna meet Penelope, or Pen, as she is known. She has uprooted her life. She's moving from Toronto to study at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, and she ends up while they're trying to unravel this mystery of her parents' divorce. So lots to dive into there. Can you add to that without giving away too much?
Yes. So I would say that Pen is a fairly perceptive young woman, and she understands that in order to move on with her life and kind of enter into adulthood properly, to individuate, as Young would put it, she needs to better understand something about her parents' history that she can sense they've been withholding from her.
Yeah.
And so she tracks down an old friend of her dad's, a novelist called Lord Lennox, and he invites her to his family's estate on the east coast of Scotland. And there she meets his enchanting family, and she falls in love for the first time, and she keeps pulling at this thread of her family secret and kind of unravels more than she bargained for.
Oh, you've given such a great teaser. This is obviously set in Scotland, a little bit in Canada, but mostly in Scotland. And I have to ask, because you nail everything, from the weather to the candies, you've got the flapjacks and the wiglets. How much time did you spend researching this book?
Well, so I lived in Scotland for 3 years,
What part?
and I lived in Edinburgh.
Okay.
I also went to the University of Edinburgh.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did, yes. I studied modern languages, and I then researched partially in my memory, and later, during the editing phase, I went back to Edinburgh and to Stonehaven with a very close friend of those days and these, and we did some fact-checking. We scrambled up the National Monument to make sure that everything that I had written was accurate.
That's right.
And yeah, we just revisited all the old haunts.
Well, this is the part of the country I'm familiar with because my mom's family and all my cousins and everybody are in Aberdeen. And then my nephew studied at the University of Edinburgh.
Amazing.
So it was really neat to read that location. So we said, this is not really about an octopus, and I don't want to give too much away, but near the end of the novel, one of the female characters compares her version of parenthood to what an octopus endures. Can you talk about that? And again, I don't want to give too much away for people.
So, broad strokes, the female octopus works really hard to survive in a dangerous world. It's hard to reach maturity as an octopus. You're basically pure protein and everybody wants to eat you. And so the octopus has to be really clever and do all kinds of brilliant things just to make it to adulthood and find a mate and reproduce. And then the female octopus enters senescence very soon after reproducing. So she takes excellent care of her eggs, but she stops feeding herself. She devotes herself, body and soul, if you can say that, to caring for the next generation and neglects to feed herself and eventually fades into death. And her next generation, the kind of product of this labor of love, sometimes even will have her decomposing body as their first meal.
Wow. Okay. That took a darker turn than what I was expecting. Listen, there's a lot of side plots that happen in this story, which I love. She's got this friend, Alice, who gets herself into a bit of trouble. She meets this maternal figure named Christina, who's the epitome of grace. Tell us about what you've written here in terms of female friendships and motherhood in general.
So in terms of female friendship, I think reading a novel that you love is a kind of bridging of lonelinesses and of privacies. And I think a very great female friendship I've only experienced my own friendships, but is like that. It's a way of getting close to kind of the innermost spirit of another person. And I think through writing that sort of central love story of Pen and Alice, I try to express one of the most beautiful gifts that we as people have, this ability to get really close to another person.
I'm so curious about, really quickly, the spark of this book. And were you reading about octopus and thought, oh, I can make this parallel? Like, what was it that dropped it in your mind?
No, so the octopus came at the end. That sentence sort of just materialized spontaneously from one of my characters, and then it got stuck in my head. And throughout the writing of the novel, that phrase was just in my brain. And later, I actually submitted it under a very banal title, and my wonderful agent, Samantha Haywood, very gently and kindly said, do you have any other ideas?
What was it? Can you tell me the
There were
boring
so
title?
many, and they were very bad. I think it would lower me in your estimation.
Oh, that's very funny.
Very forgettable titles. And Sam was amazing, and she said, I gave her another list, and this one seemed unwieldy and cryptic and completely impossible, and she said that one.
Which is great because it draws us all in. A reminder, the title of that book, the good title, is called The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus. Anne-Marie, congrats again. Great to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.